Hello, this is Miho from Canada. How are you guys doing? I hope your mental and physical health are good and fit. So today is the confidence. Often hear that I would like to have more confidence. I have no confidence. And I was the same way. And I really didn't have the confidence to do things or get really nervous or agitated, or you don't put your foot forward because you have no confidence. And when I think back, I wasn't really pinpointing what the cause of this. I had this kind of vague idea that I didn't have the confidence, but I really didn't really deeply dig into what is the cause of it. What's causing me to feel this way? So it's important to really dig into it, because a lot of the time you just don't have any solid reason why you're feeling that way. It's more like it's kind of big crowd over. You just feel that way. You just don't have confidence. So I think there are 3 points to look at. The first one is something that you've been told, or the way you were brought up. Maybe your parents or teachers, your friends said something to you. Usually the negative, you can't do that. It's not possible for you. It's not for you. It's not worth it. That sort of line. So when you hear those words over and over, you start to feel that's norm. That's your limit. That's what you define yourself to be. And you start believing and you start accepting it, because people around you start feeding so many more of definition of yours. This is the way it is. You cannot any further, or just it's impossible for you, or just see that's what you couldn't do it, like don't even try it, you will fail. That's sort of the thoughts being fed to you. So after so many years of hearing or listening to this, you start to really engrave into a part of you and believe that's what it is. But this is something from somebody else's measurement of their thoughts. It's not yours. So instead of accepting as is, you really internally check yourself, what you really want to do, and you are capable of doing a lot of things as a human being. Those people who fed those information have their own limitations, and they reflect on you because that's all they knew. And you're the one who just accepted it, just observed everything because you were young. What else you would do, right? But now you're grown up and you have choice to choose what you want to believe. So you dig into that, and then when you have those limitations of beliefs, let them go, especially those words that have been told, over and over. And it's just not yours, it's somebody else's measurements of life. So you just let go of them. Number 2 is you set yourself a limitations. For instance, I use this as a different analogy. I'm gonna show the different analogy. For instance, there is the baby elephant, and it has a chain. He's chained to the pole so that he stays in the vicinity of the property. And then he grew up that way, the chain into the pole for so many years, and that's a certain area that he can only move around, right? And then after he's grown up, the chain was cut off. Now, when you look from the big picture, this elephant are finally free to go anywhere he wishes. But would he do it? Not really, because he put he has been practicing to move around in this territory area. So that's what he thinks. He thinks that's the limit. That's the max he can move around. So even though the situation has changed, the environment has changed and give more freedom, but he doesn't think that way because his learned behavior was to not to go over this limit, set the limitations up. Same for the flea. Those fleas can jump so many meters, those little things. But when you put inside of the cup, like this, and the flea can only jump so much, right? Until it hit the cup. And when you let them do this over and over, it start to think, okay, this is the limit of their ability. And when you lift the cup, all of a sudden, flea has so much freedom to move around. But would they do it? No. They have set their limitations, so they won't jump any further than what they did inside of the cup. That's kind of setting your own limitations. And it's a learned behaviors, and this is something a lot of people go through, and including myself. I put in myself in limitations. Same for the athletes too. People say you cannot improve this time. It's impossible. And then it's been like that for years until somebody broke this number. And all of a sudden, there are so many other athletes start to break, that numbers that they used to say it's impossible. So it's a lot of with your mindset that you're putting on limitations on. And as a human being, we have like limitless of abilities. And those who really explore and freely accept our, the ability will really exceed. And those who put the limits, very tight limits, will remain in that limits. So it's really up to you. Now you're grown-up adults who can make choices. So you look into that, the limitations you might be setting for yourself, including myself. I'm learning as well. And number 3 is to live who you really are, being authentic or be true to self, true to yourself. Because when you are living somebody else, like when you are far from your alignment, you're not living really who you are, and your core level or the fundamental or foundations are not aligned with yourself. So this confidence is coming from the beliefs, how you believe yourself to be. So if you're not with yourself, like there is no foundations to build on, so it's always shaky. That's why you feel no confidence. So it's really engraved inside when you live yourself, when you feel so comfortable with yourself. This confidence is already built inside of you. It's gonna come out. So find the alignment and just get your conscious level up and frequency up, and you become really comfortable with who you really are. And that's the really quickest way to feel the confidence, because you already have it inside of you. So those 3 points that I really look into to see how you could improve and to gain a confidence is something you could do easily by trying something, like even the little tiny things like cooking or making something, crafts, from I couldn't do it to I've done it, I did it. That shift, that transition really makes you feel confidence, because you now have shifted from where you couldn't do it to something that you've done it. So that process, it really visualize yourself and actually feel that you did it. And that's another confidence that you can build. And that's the experience you need to build over and over. So look into those 3 points and see. Okay? See you soon.